Okay, guys, first of all, just want to wish you all a happy Christmas. This is the day after Christmas, obviously. Not November, December the 26th. And we're here for a straight pool tournament, and it's a handicap tournament. And we can see in the HUD up top that it's just a one game to 75 points, and player 2, who is Preacher, he is getting a 15-point start. And at the moment it's Romario at the table. Now, I'm sure if you've watched the odd one or two videos in the past, you should have an idea how straight pool works. The balls are racked, 15 in the rack, a full rack, and you can pot any ball that you want. Usually non-obvious shots like banks and combination shots have to be called. That's the rule online. And it's basically to see who can sink as many balls as they can, as quickly as they can, in order to win the match. So Romario's run of 3 ended, and Preacher's back at the table. And his objective is to get as far away from Romario as possible, using his handicap and making the most of it. And of course, the idea of the game being that you pot any ball, it sounds simple, but it's very easy to get yourself in a mess. So it's all about positional play for a start, and then the other major one, is actually picking off the correct balls. Now that's balls that are blocking pockets and blocking the path of other balls to pockets, so there's a lot more to it than it looks. You can't just win this game by banging balls all day. You're not going to get very far. And at the same time, you've got to do what Preacher did there. If you don't see a decent shot on, then trying to get a safety, which he's done, and that looks okay. Now let's have a quick look at the bracket, and we'll go to, let's see where we are. There's the straight pool tournament, and we'll go to the event bracket, and we'll see it's a single elimination, and the match that we're looking at the moment is a first round match, and that's that one there. And the winner of this match goes on to play Black Jagged, who's waiting in the second round. We can also see there's another first round match going on between Samurai and, who's that? I need to actually magnify that, the eyes are going. Koyol, and Samurai's getting, I think, 17 points of a start, and the other player in the tournament is Gary B, who's got a bye to the second round, so he's waiting on the winner of that match there. So let's go back to the match that we're in at the moment. And so Preacher is back at the table again. I wonder if he can see enough of that 12 ball, can he? Maybe he can. Just needs to run through. So in goes the 12. Probably the 2 to follow. Now the other thing you need to think about as well is once you get down to the last ball, the last remaining ball on the table, you have to try and get in such a position where you can pot that ball and also be able to break into the rack of balls, because the balls are re-racked once you get down to the last ball, and this is how you keep your run going and how you manage to get bigger runs in the game. So that was a miss there by Preacher. That's let Romario in, and Romario is off and running again. And Gary's just questioning the rating. I'll just answer him here. There was an update done to the ratings, which includes the point scoring games. Straight pool is one of them. And Gary's just querying why Romario's rating is now so low, and he's saying his rating isn't. Well, maybe it's still broken. Right, back to the match. Romario on a run of 10, and Romario's always a guy in a hurry. Doesn't tend to want to hang around an awful lot. And this usually is what can catch him out. I mean, he's capable of scoring good runs. Now, of course, if you look at the table the way it is now, he's tied up 2 balls. The 2 balls here, the 15 and I think that's the 11 ball. He just nudged into them. He's not really improved them a great deal, and he might actually tie them back up again. Well, he's opened them up slightly and he's actually finished on the 11, so he'll take that any time. And now it's getting a bit messy because he's not really got a break ball here. The 15 ball would be a break ball if he could get an angle on it, and he's really forced into probably trying to come across with this 1 now off this 15. And now he's got to play safe. Just punch that 1 ball behind the rack. Well, he's going for the cut. And of course that's something that that you just do not do. He's burst the pack open, and he's got himself into the lead with that run of 19. He's put the pressure on Preacher certainly, because the balls are there for the taking, and he just needs to take his time. So the 13 ball into the middle, and he's run a bit hard there. He should have just rolled that in and left himself on the 1 ball. And now he's making it a little bit more difficult for himself. I think he's still got this 14. But, oh no, it was a 10 ball. But the mistake's been made, and Romario will be licking his lips at this one. So Preacher's handicap has all but gone, and he's now trailing in the match, so he needs to cut out the mistakes. Just take your time, think about your shot, and straight away Romario's in a hurry again, and Romario's making mistakes, and these should be getting punished. Now let's have a look and see what sort of shot he's got down here. Well, he's not got a shot in a 6, so he's now forced into going for this 10 ball. And again, doesn't need to hit it hard, needs to keep the cue ball in the middle of the table. And that's okay, he's finished on the 5. And possibly the 15 to follow it. He's looking around, he seems to be enticed by this 15 ball right now. And it goes. And the other problem as well is you know that shot there, if you can, you don't want to be colliding other balls, because it's that thing that can actually put you off your next shot. Or you can use a ball to hold for a ball if you know, as long as you know what you're doing. But when you start letting the cue ball run around the table in straight pool, it's asking for trouble. It's all about keeping the cue ball under control, as you would say with most games, but it's paramount in straight pool if you're going to get big runs. And that's hit the knuckle. And now, let's have a look. He's got no shot. And he needs to think about a good safety. And Romario will be going for that 4 ball. That's not safe enough for him. And he's also finished on the 7. Tried to force that across to come into the pack there, or the bunch of balls that were sitting there, but he still got a shot in the 11, but got no other shot in these 2 balls. Now how does that look? Well, I don't think he can make anything of those. He's maybe going to try and squeeze the 2 in. No, he's going for the bank. So Preacher comes back to the table. He's only 4 points behind. He's got the 8 ball. Now if he plays this right, he can get an angle on this too to get into the pack. And he's not getting to that at all. Nowhere near where he wanted to be for this 2 ball. Cue ball needed to travel another foot. So again, just play the safety, and that's gone wrong. That was not a good shot. Again, Romario, a man in a hurry again, trying to smack into the pack, but again forgot the principal part of the shot there. That was actually potting the ball. And again, Preacher's got a chance. So mistakes are being made by both players, and Preacher, the man with the 15-point handicap at the start of the game, really needs to capitalise on these errors by Romario. He's over anxious to get this game over and done with. Now, let's look here. Well, there's no real shot on here. That 2 ball, I think, squeezes past the 7, but he's went for the 6. And he might have got fortunate there, the way he's left the cue ball stuck in the bunch. And Romario desperate to try and create something from this, but it looks nearly impossible to get anything from this. Well, that was a good shot. Once again, Romario's running into balls here, hoping for a bit of luck, and I don't think he's got it. I don't think he's got anything. Can he see enough of this 5 ball? Yes, he can. That's okay. 9 ball to follow. Right, let's go down to this end of the table and have a wee look from here. And that 2 ball would be a good break ball. So that would be the one I'd be keeping. And now this is becoming slightly awkward. So now he's looking as if he's forced into taking the 2 ball. So there goes the good break ball. And I don't think he could see enough of the 11 to squeeze it in. So again, Romario's run comes to an end, and it was a run of 9. Preacher's only the 9 points behind. Now the 11 ball again has been knocked into such a position where it is a good break ball. He just needs to run through with this shot onto the rail, but he's hit it too hard. I think he's tried to create the other angle, and he's got an angle there. I don't know whether it's a real good angle to get into this pack, and he's got to force this. Well, again, he's missed the first objective, and that was potting the 11. Romario now is going to probably put a bit of inside English and try and force into the pack, but he's had no joy. So Romario plays the safety, and Preacher needs to watch if he's playing off this 4 ball. Yeah, that's a bit weak. He's left Romario the shot in the 4, and no prizes for guessing what's going to happen here. He's going to cut this 4 in and send that cue ball into the bunch, but the bunch are heavily packed there, so he'll do well to get some balls out. He needs to just sort of glance the pack if he could. Well, he's went into the thick of them, and has he got the 7? Well, no, I don't think he can see enough, so he's calling the bank. Again, hit it hard, and Preacher back at the table earlier than he probably thought. Romario only scoring a 1 point there. Preacher needs to just keep himself in this match till it gets down to the business end of the rack, or the match anyway, nearer that 75 point goal. Now he has a slight angle in this 15. He could just run in between that 10 ball and onto the 1. Well, he's glanced the 10 ball instead, but he's still got a shot. And he needs to watch if he's following through, he doesn't run on off into that middle pocket. Well, the 8 just squeezed in. And again, he finds himself in trouble. Well, I don't think he can see enough of that 5 to pot it. And where's the safety in this table? Not a lot of places he can go. And that needs to keep travelling. It's going to get there. That was a nice shot, but again, absolutely no idea where the cue ball was going to finish. We could just go thin off this 5 ball. Try and run the cue ball down into the corner. He's trying to keep distance now. I don't think that's worked. I think Romario can see enough of the 9 ball to pot it. So Romario's at the table. In goes the 9. And he's got a 4-point lead. Now if he goes round the corner off this 3, well, he's under hit that by a mile. He'd have been better over hitting that and bringing the cue ball further up. He could have had the 14 or the 2 into the same pocket as the 3 there. So once again, keep saying this, Preacher's got his opportunity to actually get himself into the lead now by capitalising on these errors. Now the 5 ball looks an ideal break ball. So ideally he wants to stop the cue ball here and take that 14. But he's not going for it. He's going to take the 5, and that 14 ball is going to come down here on the break spot, as I would call it, once these balls are re-racked, because it's actually encroaching into the pack. Well, he didn't hit that hard enough to break the pack open. Probably a wise move at the end of the day, because although he's missed a 14, he's not left Romario anything easy here. Even just potting this 14 ball's fine enough, but to actually get on any other ball, going to take a good shot, especially the fact that he's sitting pretty straight in the 14. Of course he's lunged at it to try and do something impossible, but I think he's actually got away with it. He's covered up the 14. Well, he'll need to miscall that because he didn't call that shot. And he did the right thing there. He didn't call the combination. He sunk the 14, but it now gives control to Romario. Once again, he's got an easy enough 2 ball, but virtually impossible to get into this pack enough somehow to open out some balls because of the distance. And I think Romario's distracted. He's busy doing something. So Romario's got a 1-point lead, 42 to 41. And once again, trying to slam the 2 ball in and do something with the cue ball that just wasn't on. So in goes the 2. Match is all square, and he should really be looking at just a distance safety here off the edge of that 6. Needs to get it thin, doesn't want to bring anything out, which is why he's underhit it slightly, but no harm done unless Romario can pick out a combination shot within this pack, because that's another thing you need to do, is just study the pack of balls. Right, let's go down to this end again where the action is. And Romario has played a pretty good safety there. Preacher stuck against the 14, and he's failed to actually get cover on it. Now this could cause a problem. Well, that 14's bounced back on itself there, and that did Romario a favour, because that could have opened up a couple of balls where that 14 ball was running. Well, Preacher managed to scratch there, but again, no real harm done. Nothing left for Romario other than the thin safety. Now, how's that 12 and 14 ball sitting? Are they a combination? Let's have a look. Well, they are. So, unless they get moved, which they might do in a second or two, they're sitting there as a combination shot. And that needs to run. Well, that was a good shot. Has he got any joy though? Is he going to have to play this combo 11 on to the 4? He'll have to call it. And there's no shot clock in this tournament, so just take your time. Well, that's misread that. And Romario has a chance to score a few points now. Well, I think you can see the 10. Oh dear, maybe he couldn't. So once again, Romario's contribution just to 3 points, and this match is going neck and neck here. Now, Preacher's got the 8 ball into the middle, or he can roll the 4 in, leave himself on the 11, or he can even take the 11, and that'll bring the cue ball into these balls in the middle of the table. Well, he hit it soft, almost lost the cue ball. He's got a cut back in the 10. Again, he doesn't need to hit this hard, just needs to get it into the hole. Cue ball will be going up by the 4 ball. Well, he didn't avoid it, so now he's in no man's land. Now, does the 7 ball go in? No, it doesn't. So, he's got no real shot here. Well, it's difficult to say whether he tried to cut that into the hole, or whether he just tried to cut it soft for a safety, but he left it on. Romario's got the 4 ball, but once again got no real easy shot. But in goes the 8. But again, nothing available. And another good safety. And this is where the game becomes tougher. Trying to play a safety, because you've got to hit a rail, and also to try and keep it safe. So Preacher's looking to see what's going to be the best bet for him here. Maybe thin off the 5 and bring the cue ball back across. Well, I think he's underhit it. That actually still looks okay though. I don't think he's left anything. I'd be happy with that shot. That looks fine. Well, that's going to be a foul. No real hit, but no real damage done. He hasn't left anything on for Preacher. And this is where he's got to be careful, because he's playing a shot at distance here to get the edge of that, what is it, 13 ball. But this time it's gone wrong because he's left a 1 on. Now, the question is what's the next ball going to be? Well, Romario's trying to get into them, and that looks okay. That's worked out fine. Now let's look at that 13 ball and the 5 ball there. Now they're set as a combo. You can see them going into this corner. And I'm assuming Romario's already spotted that. As it is, he's underhit that shot. And now he's going to be trying to cut the 5 in. And that's why he's missed it. Maybe he didn't notice the combination shot, because that was the one to try and get the cue ball round to play. So Romario, again, just a contribution of 3, and he only leads by the 6 point. Now that was a bad shot by Preacher, because he clearly tried to do something with the cue ball there that wasn't needed. He still had a long cut on this 5 available, and that could be, it could be a telling mistake there. Romario's back at the table, probably unexpectedly. And he really needs to get rid of that 13 ball out of the pack there, but the cue ball's finished really awkward over the 7. And the cue ball is going to finish in the triangle, so it goes down to the kitchen end. He's got ball in hand, and now he's got a perfect opportunity to pot the 7 and get into the pack, which he's done. And he's finished on the 12 ball. Now if Romario takes his time here, his opponent could be coming back to the table with a fair deficit. He's already 10 points behind Romario on 54, and don't forget he's only needing another 20 points to win this match, and he could certainly put a big hole in that at this visit. Again, he's left it awkward. He's going to probably have to try and... Can he see the 3? Looks as if he can. That's worked out fine. Well, looks the 6 ball would be next, and then either the 4 or the 5. Unless he stops it for this 14. That's the shot he's played. Again, the cue ball's kissed off the 11. Fortunate though, the 8 ball's down here. That's available. So, looking at this position, well, that's a bad miss by Romario. That was poor. And he didn't call that combination shot, but it was obvious what he was going to do. He wants to leave one of those 2 balls as a break ball. So in goes the 11. He's underhit that by about a foot. So now the cue ball's going to be colliding with the 4, and it's anybody's guess where he's going to finish up when he cuts this 5. Is he going to play the bank? Well, I think that 5 cuts in no problem. He seems to want to play the bank. I don't know why. Well, Maybe not a wise move there by Preacher. Romario back at the table. Cue balls hanging, not cue ball, 5 balls hanging over that corner pocket. And the cue ball, for Romario's sake, needs to get into that triangle, which it has. And again, he's got ball in hand, cue ball on the side rail. And needs to force an angle into the bunch, which he's done. Oh, where's the cue ball finished up? Well, he's got no shot. He's behind that jaw. He can't see the 8 ball. He's got no shot. That's unbelievable. Well, he's called the 11. He's going to cut that back, and that was, well, that was unfortunate. He finished there. So once again, Preacher couldn't have a bigger invite than this. Romario just scoring the 2 points. However, the big difference is he's 18 points in front of Preacher, and Preacher needs to score here. He's almost at the point of no return. If he makes a mistake here, Romario only needs the 11 points to win the match, and there's enough balls here for Romario to do that, so the pressure's on Preacher. Well, he's taking his time and goes to 3. He really does need to take his time and put something together here if this match is to go deep into the business end. Now that 7 ball that's up at the top end of the table there, that's not bad having that 7 ball down there, because it is an opportunity, like an escape route, if he gets out of position down at this bottom end of the table as we look. So it'll be quite handy keeping that 7 ball there for the time being. Now, does that 6 ball go clean past the 1? Looks as if he's going to be forced into taking this 7 then. And that cue ball needs to hit something to slow it down. Well, that's worked out okay. Finished on the 13 into the middle. And he really now wants to get down to get that 4 ball and the 1 ball down there, because they're the other half of the table. And he's also got that 15 ball stuck in the side rail, and we've got these 2 balls down in the bottom rail here, the 8 ball and the 11, and they're the problem balls. And again, he's finished right in the middle of nowhere, so now he's got a pressure shot in this 6 ball. And now he's definitely got nothing. Well, is that 8 ball sitting as a combo? That's what he's called. It looks as if it's running away from the jaw. Well, he got it far too thin. And, well, how many balls are left? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, Romario can't win the match in this rack of balls, but he's in control. There's no real good break ball here. The only one that is the 11, which is behind the pack a ball, so he'd have to get the cue ball down behind the pack if he's going to leave this 11 ball as his last ball when they're re-racked. Well, that changes things. He's nudged into the 11 and he's got it out, but again he needs to get high on this 15, and he's finished pretty much straight, so again he's trying to force an angle. Well, he's managed to do it. Chipped out the 6 ball. Again, a chance off this 6 ball to get the cue ball into the back of the pack again as well. Well, he stunned it round the corner and missed him. Let's have a look at that 13. It goes. And he's nudged to 10. So, Romario sitting on 74 and just needs the 1 ball, but he ain't going to get it here unless that 2 is a combo. He's playing the 4 ball. Is he? No, he's playing the other combo. Well, he would have done wise to look at that 4 and 2 ball, because I'm pretty certain they were a combo. And he's so much in a hurry, Romario, I don't even think he's studying the pack, because I'm sure the 4 and 2 ball was sat there as a combination shot. Well, that's Preacher's last mistake. This match is all over. Romario sinks the 11. Where's the cue ball going though? Oh dear, that was lucky. Anyway, Romario wins this first round match by 75-53. Remember, it's single elimination, so Preacher just needs to pack his cue and come back another day. Romario goes on in the tournament.